I think I'll use this new knife from Jason to kind of put it through its paces, making some dinner tonight. But first, Mara had a question. You wanted to see the knife from Uncle Jason, right? All right, this is it. I'll hold it and you just tell me what you think, okay?
I think it's cool.
What do you like about it?
I like the color of the handle.
You like the color of the handle? You know what they call it?
What?
Butterscotch micarta. You can touch it. It's paper micarta. It's really nice. Why do you think they call it that?
It feels like.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah. It looks kind of like caramel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what butterscotch is?
What?
Butterscotch is kind of like a type of caramel, kind of. You think you'd like to use that when you're maybe a little bit older? That's probably a bit sharp for you now. Should we say thank you to Jason? You want to tell him thanks?
Thank you, Jason.
That's because they're your Christmas gift. Mama's being kind and generous to you. It's just a timing they're supposed to be given.
I like that boy and one of those things said, boasted to his friends that his pets were better than them.
Yeah, he was an unkind boy in that book.
Yes, he really was. I do not like any of that stuff.
See, it's too big and some of it's too slimy and old. Because I'm just taking some video of the first use of this knife for my friend Jason. Danny, you're gonna like this knife. Jen, could you stop that, please? Or go somewhere else with that.
Get the stool and bring it back into the bathroom so it's handy for when we need to pee and put it on the toilet.
I set the alarm on your phone.
Okay. You don't need the timer then?
No. Yeah, Liz. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, whoops. That's probably more than I need.
Delivery and warning.
Yep.
Someone has gone on the river.
Where
A
to?
young boy. He is running away.
Is he going up the driveway, Dan? Mara? Laszlo? It may be too early to say, but also this may be the best kitchen knife ever made.
Yeah.
So that's positive. Is that funny?
Funny. Funny.
Yeah. It was a yucky bug, yeah. But it wasn't trying to hurt her, was it? It was just crawling on her neck. Which is a disturbing thing, you know? Yeah.
That's yummy thing.
Good job, Jim.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Papa, look. Papa. Papa, look.
Now, I'm not much of one for a top-down, hands-on-the-screen review, but I figured this particular knife warrants a closer inspection. So you guys have just watched some use footage of it, and I just want to give you some interesting design notes that they kind of relay some of the custom touches that Jason has put on this knife. It's 165 millimeters. I reckon that's just over 6 inches, 6.5 inches. The blade stock starts about 4 millimeters thick, or 0.16 of an inch. But if you look at the stock thickness here versus the stock thickness out here, you'll notice that there's quite a large distal taper. It's not a full flat grind, as many kitchen knives you would expect. I don't know if I can get that. There you can see the reflection sort of changing. There's an almost flat area that comes to about here. But it's kind of like there's like full thickness here, and then the thickness sort of fans out. And then the grind is sort of a convex, because that corner is not a hard line. It's like a rounded surface out to the edge. Now, speaking of the edge, like, if you can see it, good for you. Like, I visually, with my naked eye, behind this phone, I cannot see the edge. Oh, I'm catching a little bit of glint off of it right there. So it's basically zero ground. It's basically a thin convex. It starts out with that kind of thickness, you can see. And then it ends up with a distal taper with this sort of cutting profile. Which starts to taper somewhere around here and goes basically to zero. The handle is butterscotch colored paper micarta. I've never handled paper micarta before. Very, very nice feel. Some of that grippiness and richness that you experience with micarta, but much more smooth than, and just a kind of luxurious feel. Much more smooth than your canvas or linen variants. This is a custom handle that Jason and a few other knife makers that he mentioned have been experimenting with. This is vintage paper micarta, by the way, so you may see there's a little bit of darker colors in sections of it and some lighter colors. That fade is actually like the time-worn nature of the material. So he chooses vintage, he gets old vintage micarta on purpose because of the character that it has. The handle shape, he's called it decagonal. Everything's sort of rounded out, so it looks like it has 4 sides. But upon closer inspection, you find that these 2 sides taper almost to nothing, and this side tapers to a point. Decagonal means 10-sided, so I assume he had a little side here and a little side here that have been mostly rounded over, and here, which would give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But the cool thing about how the geometry flips on this, I mean, with a kitchen knife, you're always balancing. Like, if you have a very, flat handle, then you have a lot of ability to turn that. You can generate a lot of sideways force, but it's not as comfortable. If you have a very round handle, they're very comfortable. But sometimes, the grip isn't quite the same. It's just why you end up with these, D-shaped handles to try to, combat that. So in Japanese knives, there's a lot of effort put into figuring out how to get a secure grip, how to get directional grip on the knife, but not sacrifice this sort of Japanese idea of a straight handle where you've got a lot of different grip possibilities. So Jason's sort of met that challenge by doing this decagonal handle, and this surface actually tapers to be right where your thumb kind of would key in to do a kitchen grip. So because that tapers to flat, and then this sort of fades into ramps down into the blade, you've got a perfect kitchen grip. Rounded spine, rounded here, rounded there. Very comfortable. And the thickness actually makes it more comfortable. Jason mentioned that, and I would have to agree. Anyway, you've got flat surfaces, but a rounded overall profile. You've got some ability to grip and turn the blade, but you've also got really, really good comfort characteristics. So really cool, really, really, really cool design. on that. Nice satin finish. Like you can see, my camera rig and me are back there, but not full mirror. Really, really nice finish. Anyway, overall, just like really am in love with this as a kitchen knife, and big thanks, big shout out to Jason. This bolster, it's kind of cool, is custom fitted inside the handle, and then the whole assembly is glued. So it's not a cap that's sitting on top of there. As far as I understand it, there's some overlap, and so they're actually keyed to fit together. And I'm sure the edge retention on this is going to be insane. Stainlessness thoughts. So far, no complaints whatsoever. So I was cutting up tomatoes first thing, and let some of the juice of the tomato kind of sit on there. And I have to say, there's no discolorations. I'm moving it back and forth. You can see the light reflections. No discolorations, no rust. Something that Jason mentioned is that by doing a liquid nitrogen heat treat, you force a lot more of the chrome, because 10V has, I think, about 4% chrome in it. And you force as much as possible of that chrome to stay in the blade steel itself and not precipitate out into carbides. So this definitely has much, much better rust resistance than like my Opinel, which has kind of like a 1095 variant of carbon steel in it. And I've cut up a whole bunch of veggies and not dried it until the end with no problems so far. Anyway, I'll get some edge performance testing out on the channel, and I will make some more reviews of this particular style of blade and some videos where I learn more properly to use it. But I just wanted to get out here at the beginning, reward Jason for his effort with a bit of some design notes and review. Loving it. Merry Christmas, guys. Well, I realized that I commented on the thickness and everything, but I didn't really talk about the usage of it. So I've used a lot of kitchen knives, some of them nicer than others. And I was concerned. I asked Jason, like, oh, are you going to grind away some of that thickness? And he said, no, I leave it that thick and just leave it all to like the edge geometry and the distal taper to create the cutting performance. He's kind of like, you'll see, Gabe. You'll see. And I went to cut through that cabbage, and I think that it might have been less efficient to use a lightsaber. I just grabbed this thing and pushed down, and it was like there was nothing there. I have never, ever experienced slicing efficiency like I just experienced making this meal. The carrots, it was so funny. I don't know if you could pick it up in the video, but they didn't make the like shunk shunk sound of like a thick edge. It was like shh, shh, shh. So really, really cool how we all think, oh, you need extra thin knives for kitchen use. And Jason, being a chef and a boss, is like, yeah, nah, you don't need thin steel. You need geometry, bro. So Jason, well done on that geometry. I am a fan.